KFAI.org. It's where community grows, and it's where you go to listen to Al McFarlane. Conversations with Al McFarlane coming up just in a moment. I want to thank Bruce and William there for checking in during Democracy Now! And donating to the program and other fine programs, including No Stress Express, East of Here, West of Now, and the Foo Bar Omniverse. Some money in advance for Travel Ramo Fa Fa Fa. It just goes to show that these folks are listening all the time. They're listening across the board. They're listening across the station all hours, finding information, finding news, finding music they wouldn't hear anywhere else. Al McFarlane, you're here with us. Good morning. Good afternoon, Al.
Good afternoon, Mason. How you doing, my friend?
It's good. It's good to see you. Al, as you may know, if you listen week to week, has been broadcasting remotely since the beginning of the pandemic. And, we're not out of that pandemic yet. And honestly, you found a good media home for yourself there in the physical sense.
At home. And loving it. Actually, the technology is amazing because sitting here, I'm with you in studio, but I'm with friends of mine all over the planet. Friends who are checking us out in Zimbabwe, in Ethiopia that we talked to, Jamaica, in Kingston, friends who connect with us in California and around the corner in North Minneapolis on the West Bank and Summit University in St. Paul. So this technology is really amazing in its capacity to connect us to each other. It's a wonderful thing. I'm thankful to KFAI for the anchor we have become in public policy and culture and diversity in this marketplace. And I want to join you and ask all of our listeners and viewers, Mason, to join us in supporting this important work. Easy to do. Just give us a call, 612-375-9030, 612-375-9030. Pledge your support today. Support this work. Let us know that you're listening, you're paying attention, that we bring value to your life. We want that to happen. What do you think, Mason?
I think that sounds great. You can go to KFAI.org as well if you're not in a place where you can pull out a phone. I want you to think back to even just the last couple of weeks. If there are guests, if there are topics that you've heard on this particular program that have sparked a new conversation within your family, within your friends, even within our live chat over here. I saw a lively chat here about a week or two where people were talking about when you had folks on representing the public schools, talking about educational disparity and things they had learned during the teacher strike. And, welcome our teachers back. Your fight is not done. But they heard perspectives on conversations with Al McFarlane that they did not hear anywhere else. It gave them a new thing to talk about and maybe something to argue about. If somebody says, well, you're wrong, well, they got the facts from Al McFarlane. Well, and you bring in new perspectives. And that's my point. The people I saw on there were not necessarily, you wouldn't even necessarily think, oh, that's the show they're listening to at 1:00, but they're learning from you. They're learning from you. We're thankful for you. We're thankful for those who listen and those who support. 612-375-9030.
Well, I just sent a note to Ilhan Omar asking that if she's available sometime in the next hour to jump on the call, because she sent out a press release calling for the resignation of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Oh. And now I've seen another press release today from, I think, Representative Ocasio calling for the same. So that's going to be growing. It's an important topic. I want to sort of commend and point out what I think is the fierceness and fearlessness of our Representative Ilhan Omar jumping on it first. And at a time when most Democrats, our friends, seem to be, slow walking it, she's come out boldly, and the progressives are being bold. So I hope she's able to join us in the course of this hour. If she shows up, I'll bring her in. We'll go from there. But let me ask you, Mason, real quick before you leave. The big topic on Black social media is the slap heard around the world. Have you been hearing much of that today on the show? Or
there has been some discussion here from frankly, I've heard some discussions by people that maybe don't have their business poking into there. I've got my own thoughts on it, but
well, tell me. I'm curious. What
well,
are your thoughts?
oh boy, you're gonna put me right on the spot there. Well, this might not bring it. Maybe this will bring in the calls. Um, I understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think it's right. I think it's irresponsible for folks at that level of fame, that level of notoriety, to conduct business in public like that. That said, I understand. I've read Will Smith's apology. I know there's one that's floating out for Chris Rock that does not seem to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Might be false. I've read where he's coming from, and I appreciate the apology. I don't think it excuses it. There's been lively discussion here, and I'm pretty sure Lady J's got a lot to say on that topic in the next hour or two. That there are better ways to conduct that business, and you're in front of a million people. So
Yeah.
if that was not a publicity stunt, which a lot of us also think
It could have been.
probably was the case,
Yeah. Hopefully it was, even in poor taste.
that's definitely a modern thing. Is you can get away with poor taste publicity, but
Mm-hmm.
as long as you get the eyes on it, and
Mm-hmm.
they are right that the Oscar viewings were down 58%, and then suddenly, somehow we're talking about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, shot in the arm for the
um,
organization.
if
So
it, yeah, if he really had a contention to do, he was on stage 10 minutes later.
yeah.
That would have given him 10 minutes to come up with, a good verbal slap.
Mm-hmm.
His family got slapped verbally, which is what he was saying, but
Mm-hmm.
give it 10 minutes. So just sit on it. And definitely I say that as somebody that, acts on emotion when they maybe shouldn't. I haven't gotten slapped. I haven't slapped I haven't slapped Chris Rock, but I think this is even one of his bits from the back then. I wouldn't do this. I think he said I wouldn't hit a woman, but I understand,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
In one of his prior routines,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
one of his prior routines. I was
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
think back to it, and I'm sure the internet's got all of that on everywhere. I get why Will Smith did what he did. Don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't wanna go public either side because I don't actually know what my partner would want me to do. So I do not want her to hear on the radio, "No, I wouldn't do that," and for me to come home and say, "Oh, you wouldn't." So so thank you for putting me on the spot, Al McFarlane. Thank
Oh,
you for putting feet to the fire. I appreciate that you do that. I appreciate you do it every week. And if you appreciate that, 612-375-9030, KFAI.org. How about $35 donation if you agree with Will Smith, 45 if you agree with Chris Rock.
there we go.
There. Let's get your vote out there, and then we'll see if any of that
35 supporting real Will Smith.
Yes. 45 supporting Chris Rock.
45 Chris Rock. We'll report
Yep.
that out at the end of the hour.
Yep.
So, okay,
We'll add those up at the end of the hour here.
Okay.
So KFAI.org.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, I'm Al McFarlane. This is Conversations with Al McFarlane. Thanks to my colleague Mason for that lively exchange. But I just have to keep iterating how important it is that we have this conversation, this venue that allows us to talk about things that are important to our community. And one of the things that I've been aware of that I got a press release on, I think yesterday, was about some activity happening with the Northside Boxing Club. And I see on my screen here, Brother Drill is the name. Brother, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing good, doing good. So I read quickly that you all are doing some things where you're providing boxing gloves to people in community. And I guess that's a way to introduce the entire community to the variety of benefits that come from physical activity in general, boxing in particular as a pathway. I hadn't thought about this, but that is a perfect segue from the slap, to boxing, because boxing would have been the appropriate way to handle that. You got a beef, take it to the ring, right? Take it to the gym.
And we can hug it out afterwards.
Right? And everybody kind of knows what the routine is. So good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. So talk about what's going on. First of all, give me your background again. Let's people don't know all you've done. Talk about your work in the profession, in the craft, and then
Okay.
let's talk about the gym and the project.
Okay. I came up in North Minneapolis boxing. I went through the amateur program. I won 2 Golden Gloves, 3 state championships, and I turned pro in 2006. And I had 29 professional fights. During those fights, my third fight, I obtained the fastest knockout in boxing history.
Which was what?
And the first punch of the fight, he
First,
ran right at me.
what?
Yeah,
One
you just
second,
look it up.
1 second match.
1 second. Yeah, 1 second. You look it up. Just put in world's fastest boxing knockout. It'll come up. Yeah. So that's kind of been my little claim to fame around the neighborhood and things. And so when we opened up the gym in 2016, we use boxing as a form of a metaphor for life to help teach these kids about life
Sure.
through boxing.
Yeah.
About proper preparation and every day working at a craft to have a goal in mind, to accomplish things and to overcome struggles and become conquerors. And we do all this through boxing. And it's not necessarily I think all these kids are going to be boxers. Is this a source that I use to teach them life, to get their attention? Because first you got to get the kids' attention to give them some knowledge. And once they know you can punch and knock people out, they're like, oh, they want to listen.
Let's focus on this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then when they realize I'm giving them something different, I'm giving them a little bit more. I'm giving them some hugs. I'm giving them some information about life and how they can receive life and take on life with more information instead of just trying to figure it out the hard way. Because I did the hard way already. So I let them learn from a lot of my mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, and I teach them and learn from it, so they don't have to make the same mistakes. So that's kind of like our overall wrap up about what we do at the gym. And the drill stands for directly related to the inner city with love and loyalty. And it comes with a symbol. We got a sign we throw up. That's on the gloves. You'll see it.
Okay.
And it stands for overcoming struggles and becoming a conqueror. Yeah, because I understand that everybody goes through some type of struggles and they have to conquer it. And that's how we grow. That's how we get to the next level. We have to go through adversity. You can't climb a smooth mountain. I tell them that all the time.
It's always rough.
Yeah.
So the glove giveaway. Talk about that promotion. What's the concept? What do people need to know? And I'm going to come back and go back over your story because it's a fascinating story. And brother, I'm just so glad to have this one-on-one conversation with you. And I want to use this time to elevate your story, your vision, and break it out. I see you got a champion in the back seat there. I see you got a boss back in the back. Yeah.
I got one on the way next month. So we're at the hospital now. She's at the doctor now. Yeah.
Congratulations. Who's in your back seat sleeping there?
Okay, that's Baby Phil the Drill. So that's Phil Williams Jr.
Phil Williams Jr., Baby Phil the Drill. He's just peaceful. I see his face. So I'm going to have to describe him for radio. I see him because we're on social media. But this kid is as peaceful as the world. He's just in his space. So great. Beautiful child, man. And one on the way?
Yes, one on the way. We're at the doctor's appointment now.
Congratulations.
My wife just went in there so I can do the interview.
When's your next baby due?
May 24th.
Okay, cool. Soon.
So just adding to it.
Yeah.
Add to the movement. Yes.
Okay. Great. So talk about the promotion. You're doing a boxing gloves. You're making gloves available. What's the concept there? What's going on?
Okay. We're selling the gloves to be able to fund the gym to keep the gym self-sustained.
Okay.
So it's hard. Constantly begging for money, looking for sponsors and grants. So we're trying to find a way that we can self-sustain to keep this going. Because it's a beautiful program we got. We feed the kids every day. We got food coming, and the gloves that helps provide all of that. The price of the gloves and the monies we get from that helps provide all that for the kids to take them out of town for fights. Even the kids that are not fighting, just to let them participate in the tournaments, to be around it, show them there's other parts of boxing that you can be in without actually fighting. Or just using the concepts of boxing to take it to life.
Okay.
So basically that's what the gloves are for, just to keep self-sustaining in our gym. So we're trying to sell them everywhere just to keep it going, because we need more kids in there. especially what's going on in the cities now.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah,
got, you know,
all
we
the
got
youth violence
not
and
only
stuff.
youth violence, you know, teachers going on strike and leaving the kids back in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to grab those kids, because when they go to the streets, that's when the trouble happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we got to open our doors up. And it's got to be open during those school hours. If the school's going to close, we'll open up for them. We'll feed them. Keep coming here. We got you. And that's what we have to provide, that place for them in North Minneapolis, because they need those sanctuaries. And we don't have too many of those sanctuaries.
Let me put your website address in the chat here. What is your website address?
For the gloves, or
for the gloves, or for the box?
Oh, yeah.
Either one.
Yeah. Northsideboxandgym.com.
I'm going to type it, put it in the chat here, so people can, or online here.
Northside Boxing.
I'm going to spell it right. Northside Boxing Gym.
Yep. Yes. Northside Boxing Club. I'm sorry.
Boxingclub.com.
Yes. North Minneapolis.
Okay. And so I just typed in northsideboxingclub.com. You have to add more to it?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, great. So I'm going to post that so people can see
I'm not good with the websites, but they'll find it from there.
They'll find it. They can. So just so you know, not only this going out through KFAI's website, Insight's website, and also going out to Black Press USA, which is the website of the Black Press of America nationwide. And so, Brother Williams, the club, what's the address of the club, Northside Boxing Club?
1704 33rd Avenue North, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Used to be a fire station, right?
Old firehouse, very well protected.
Yeah.
Come on there, it's a shelter for real. Yes, it's a shelter from the storm.
And so, if people come up to the gym, what are they going to find? What's going on? Can people just drop in to visit or not?
Oh yeah. Come on in. You're gonna see kids around here smiling, having fun, boxing. You're gonna see parents. You're gonna see little kids, older kids. You're gonna see a lot of my kids. And you're gonna see a lot of kids interacting with each other. One thing I like to teach them a principle, because we move on a movement. It's not just about boxing. That's just my thing to get you there. Then when you get there, I give the kids hugs every morning, every time they come in. Because, just the stress of life, a lot of these inner city kids don't get hugs, and they don't get told a lot of positive things during the day. So I like to tell them a lot of positive things during the day, give them hugs, give them instructions, feed them, and exercise. And from there, we can create a healthy community with us providing that, and more people even coming down and helping us create this village. We have uniforms. This, everybody wear our Northside stuff, and this is our symbol right here.
Okay.
So, so people are starting to recognize that in the city, when you see these kids, you can kind of direct them back to the gym, or let them know, hey, I know your coach. I know where you're supposed to be at. It kind of keeps people accountable.
Yeah.
I tell the kids, when you wear this, you have to be accountable when you're putting this stuff on.
You got to represent.
Represent. Yes, you are.
So the club invites boys and girls, right? Men and women. And all ages. What's the age range of people that might be in the club at a given time? From what to what?
7 to 19. And then we have adults that come in, but we charge the adults because that goes towards the kids.
Right.
The kids are totally free.
Okay.
So you might see some college kids, or just a kid coming in during his breaks during college. They might do a different sport, but they come in to get some boxing in to help them out whatever other sport they're doing. So
Michelle Madison is watching from out east. She says that's a great concept and endeavor. It needs to be replicated in cities throughout the country. Michelle, thank you for being a regular listener and viewer of the program, and thank you for that observation. And I want to invite anybody else that would like to join the program to do so. We'd love to have your comments, your feedback. I think I'm going to be able to post the excuse me, the URL. I've got a cough. Hold on a second. Let me mute here.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
A gym like this needs to be in every city. Because most boxing gyms, they're more there to go win trophies and championships. But this is not that type of gym. You can take your skills and go win whatever you want, but It's more about teaching the skills and instructions of life, giving you some love, man. You know, something so you can have after boxing, life
Mm-hmm.
after boxing.
Mm-hmm.
The boxing, it's a short period. You get a short period of time in boxing, and then life starts. You know, we got guys like, we have examples like Mike Tyson and guys like that who can give you a full redemption about how they went all the way through life, and now they can come back around and help people to help them go through the things that they went through, that they might recognize that, hey, I had a problem like that. Can I tell you how I went through it? You know, let me show you through my examples. You know, and it's just that type of gym. So that's what we push. It's a movement. So it's based on principles.
Let me introduce you to another friend and another educator, teacher, mentor like you. Brother Andre Fisher heads the Twin Cities Mobile Jazz Project. Is that right, Andre? That's still the right name? Good to see you. I saw you smiling backstage at the conversation. So let me,
because I was listening to drill.
Let's all of us do this together. You know?
Yeah.
Well, we sound like echoes. Also, you know, most of us are fathers or uncles or brothers, and therefore the grace of God, everyone else's children are ours too. Well, we're older, Al, so in our generation, I got spankings from the neighbors. I didn't even get them from my mother.
Yep.
And when somebody saw me you Miss Fisher's boy, you need to get back over here. People had a different concern. They reached out, and when they called it a neighborhood, that's exactly what it was. And that's also when the cops walked the beat, and some of them lived in the neighborhood, as opposed to a military force, which comes to govern what we do in these areas that they let us hang out in before they reapportion it and redistrict everything. Don't get me started. But as far as him talking about patience, it's the same with mobile jazz. Regardless of what we teach the kids and show them, can you cuss? Can I cuss? I'm not bad. But what's the old saying? If you ain't seen shit, you don't know shit.
Okay.
So what we do is same as him. The boxing, as well as our recording studios, they're like shiny pennies. It's to get somebody to get in the door, and then you give them a safe atmosphere and people to trust. At that point, then they show you what they need. And then they tell you what they've seen and what they haven't seen. And then at that point is when you can interact and be a mentor, not an instructor. You don't talk, it's not like talking at people. It's talking to them. And half the kids we know, same as yours, they ain't had a hug in ages. No. And they don't sit around a table and eat dinner together and discuss the day. That stuff doesn't happen. So even when we get the kids food, we make them sit together and we sit there like it's a family. You know, it's just enough structure to keep the format, but it's loose enough to let them know we're not authoritarians.
Right.
We don't yell at people. We share with people. I don't have to convince you that I'm trying to sell something. If it's really good, I'm sharing it. Okay, so it's about that. I heard it in Drill's voice. I heard him when he talked about it. I heard him when his pride rose up because he was helping somebody. You can't pay people to do that. You can't pay for us, and we are our brother's keeper. I don't care how problematic it is. I don't care how many hours of sleep you lose. Rest when you die, because there is no Brinks truck that follows us to the graveyard. You die having $1 million or owing one. Either way, you can't take it with you. So that's not the point anymore. Because in my business in music, young kids coming to me telling me that they're using music to escape the bounds of their situation and to make money. That's not why I've been successful. I played music because it's my culture, and that's the therapy we had since we didn't know to go to a doctor. Okay. All the things we've done to sedate ourselves and to dance and sing and eat and over-seasoned food that had been thrown at us was nothing but a form of therapy to keep us from going stark raving mad.
Let me go back.
I understand that. I understand the nature of that. I appreciate you, Drill, and I can't wait to forward your information to the young folks. Even though they're coming to me for music, they need all that they can get.
So, brother Williams, right? What's your first name, brother?
Yes. Yeah, Phil Williams.
Phil Williams. Okay.
Phil Williams.
Drill Williams. So let me go back to you, and we're going to hang out, all of us together again. If Congresswoman Ilhan is able to jump in, we'll just break in and talk to her and keep on rolling. But I wanted to go back because you mentioned, and I'm sure you'll say the same, Andre, but Brother Williams, you said that part of your mission is to recognize mistakes you've made, the challenges you've had. I want to unpack that. So as you look back and reflect, what are some of the kind of things that you know now, in hindsight, were left turns that could have been right turns, and how do you therefore impart guidance, direction, an invitation to do right and be right to young people, an invitation that comes out of knowledge, experience, and sincerity? What do you think?
So one example, as I said, I got married. I came up in a single family household. It was just my mom, and I never met my dad. Mm-hmm. And I ended up having kids by different women. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, so that's your picture, and that's what you're used to. And I had to learn the how hard that was to raise kids like that. Mm-hmm. And so I knew growing into, if I'm going to keep being a mentor to these kids, I have to start with myself first. So one thing I did go get married, mm-hmm. and now I'm having kids.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
You need a hug today, Drill. I'm sending you a hug, Drill.
We hugging each other, brothers.
Man to man, I'm hugging you, Drill.
Yeah.
No, just having kids under wedlock now, and get my life together first. Mm-hmm. So I still go through it. I still make mistakes, mm-hmm. and I just try to fix it for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, excuse me when I talk about them, it get a little different.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's just like that. I just go through my thing or whatever, but and I do it because I know I got to do it for other people, and it's not just for me, but it's for me first.
Yeah.
Amen. So yeah, that's the passion I got for them. So when I speak on them, that's how I feel. Mm-hmm. So that's why sometimes it's hard to talk when I'm talking about them. But yeah, that's what it is. That's I just like I said, this whatever mistake I made, I just just even being in the streets, going through that, mm-hmm. Trying to show them, turn away from there, how you can be a better person. Yeah. No matter who you were yesterday,
that's
you
right.
can be somebody different. You can be somebody different today. With just a choice. Just a change of attitude to say, hey, I want to go that way now. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to be that no more. I don't want to be that no more. So I'm giving an example of what it can be. Mm-hmm. Just in a physical form, mm-hmm. and then whoever else they can imagine they can be. I'm clearing up now. I'm good. I'm go through that a little bit.
All right, I got you, man. I'm loving it, man. But as you speaking, this is why it all makes sense to me, brother. And this conversation makes perfect sense because I'm hearing the music of your life, the musicality of your life. I'm hearing creativity. I'm hearing improvisation. I'm hearing the source of life that is welling up in you and that is reflected in your life and in the sense of truth that you are confronting yourself with and confronting the world with, and you got the witness in your back seat. You got the witness in your back seat. You have, and you were saying you have every absolute reason in the world to do right and be your best self. You have no choice. And Andre, when I'm hearing this music, I'm saying music because I know that's your trade, and you trade in the spirit and in creativity and in technology and in genius of recognizing and nurturing
it is a joyful noise. That's all it is, and it's there for us. It's just like it's part of our makeup. Okay, I mean, no matter what the instrument is, it's a drum. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing they tried to take away from us when we came was the drum. That's why I'm envious of the slaves that got dropped off in Cuba and Brazil. They let them keep the drum. We had to pick up guitars and stuff. No, but also the only thing we can do is lead by example. That's your daughter's first love is you. You know, your children see you. It's like a puppy knows when to attack a stranger by watching who he's with. Your children get different ways of how to deal with the world by the example of their parents. And if the parents aren't able to be open as you are, Drill. Same with me. My father cried before me instead of giving me the John Wayne. You know what I'm saying? So he was able to show me he was only as strong as he was compassionate. He was both. And there's no reason we can't be both. And what Al said earlier, I've always been taught that. Same way you said it too. You have a choice. It's like monogamy is not sometimes natural for people. Monogamy is choice.
Yes.
It's like saying, is my primal urges worth me messing up my friendship? Okay. And it's got to be partners, because it seems like black men, it seems like we've only been men for a minute, and we're constantly trying to have to prove ourselves to people who really aren't qualified to judge us. So we're always trying to prove something. I'm not trying to prove zip. I got work to do. Okay. So all I'm doing is doing my work. You can say whatever the hell you want to say. I'm going to send my friends over to box, and then they're going to come to me and play some music. Okay.
That's right.
The rest of that's just trash, because day after tomorrow, none of the people who mess with us were there when we were being raised. Okay. I didn't suckle on anybody else's breast but my mama's. All right. So in other words, we know where it lies, but we're also colonized people. We're generations down of people. And I'm surprised all of us don't have Stockholm syndrome. You know, we're constantly trying to make people feel comfortable with our problem. Well, don't let me upset you. It's like critical race theory. There's no such thing as critical race theory. It's what happened or what didn't happen.
Right.
It's simple as that. And if you were strong enough to enslave me, your children got to be strong enough to hear about it. Okay. And if I was strong enough to endure, I got some say so. Okay. Because if you could have built this joint by yourself, you wouldn't have brought me over here.
Right.
All right. Or mixed us up to the point that the only way you can live on is to mix some melanin together. I come from a mixed marriage, and when my parents got married, it was against the law. So when people tell me about what's legal, it was legal to own slaves. It was legal that you couldn't marry someone from another race. Don't get me started. So I don't have time for that. We don't have time, because once you peep the game and see that it's a caste system, you don't have time to be a victim of it. You got to hustle. You got to get on with it. Okay? Because people who think they're running stuff, they're not. Russia thought it was going to be cold-blooded in Ukraine.
Stop.
People said, nope.
Not today.
Okay. So
I have a picture behind me.
I'm appreciative of both you gentlemen. You know, I can talk my butt off, but at the same time, I can listen. I can listen to you all day.
Yeah, we're going to all talk. I have a picture
real.
on this mantle behind me here. You mentioned the question of the colonizers and the experience of slavery. And on this photograph, you can't really see it. There it is, just over my shoulder. I'm sitting in the middle on the floor, and I've shared this on this show several times. I'm 4 years old in that photograph, about 4. And next to me are my cousins and my sister's next to me on the divan, the couch. My mother, her sister, their mother, and their mother's mother, my great-grandmother. This picture is taken in about, I think, 1954 or so, when I'm 5 years old, maybe 1951. I think I'm 4 years old, born in 47. And the great-grandmother dies in 1959. She was born in 1859. She lived to be 100. And it hit me one day. This picture's been right where it is there for as long as I've lived in this house, I moved in this house in 1973. And it's just kind of, you see it and you take it for granted. You just don't notice it. But all of a sudden, I went to see 12 Years a Slave. I came home and was sitting there thinking about the movie, and the photograph started glowing, it seemed. Made me get up and go pick it up and look at it and think about it and do the math. And I said, you know what? If she was born in 1859, she was the property of other human beings. I knew somebody personally. This ain't something I read. This is something I know and something I experienced. I experienced the touch, the hug, I remember I tell people that when I was in Mississippi one time visiting the plantation they lived on, sharecroppers, walking through a shed, and there was a 55-gallon drum with cotton billowing out of it. They were cotton pickers. And I reached up because I was 4 years old or so, or 3, and it was fluffy and white like cotton candy. I sucked my hand in it, and she whacked me on my knuckles with a spoon, saying, "Get your hand out of there. You don't know, could be a snake in that barrel of cotton. Don't put your hand where you can't see." Well, that was an instruction that stayed with me all my life. The most important thing, though, Brother Williams and Brother Fisher, is that I think back now that here's a human being that I am connected to, my great-great-grandmother, that I actually knew and talked to, interacted with. This human being, when she was born, when she was my age, she was the property of another human being, of a colonizer. So the question is, you want me to think that that was in the past, long ago? Get over it? Absolutely not. Not going to? I can't. Justice is what I'm looking for. Yeah. And justice is what I'm living for. And so, so just your thought about the word colonizer triggered the thought in me. But I also thought, keeping the music and boxing equation alive, Brother Williams, when boxers are boxing, I also see that as like dance, like theater, like musicality. And there's something happening when you attune the body to cosmic movement. You said the word, it's about movement. And so when you teach the way of movement embodied in the art and craft of boxing, what kind of alignment do you experience as a fighter boxer, and what are you teaching people, young people, the students, to know, to learn about the cosmos, about the universe, about the way of existence? Am I making sense? Or am I out to lunch? Talk to me.
I just bought a book called The Cosmos.
Okay.
At home. I just bought another one, Law of Human Nature. But boxing is spiritual. And that's why music goes hand in hand with it, because music is spiritual. Music can shape your thoughts and shape the way you feel. And so we definitely have music going on at the gym, and I'm probably the #1 dancer in the gym, and I can't dance. When the music goes on, I get to dancing because I just get to let them know this is how you got to feel, man. Get just feeling good about yourself. I don't want to just come in here and start hitting this bag. No, come here, feel good. What's up? Give me a hug. How you doing? Turn the music on. I want to get your move right first. Because I understand we got to connect on spirit, got to connect spiritually first. I can't just give you instructions, say authority, do this, and do that. No, I want to connect with you today. How you doing? Make you smile, and now you feel good about working and dancing and making your life better. And I'm giving you instructions to go with that, so you can take this outside of here. Whether you have a good day or bad day, you can end it with a good day. I always tell people, it's not how you start your day, it's how you end your day. So you always got a chance to make your ending a lot better, even with your life. It's not how you started your life. You can today you can change your ending. So you don't have to, the cards you were dealt with, man, don't have to be your ending. So you're right. So everything is spiritual and comes with the music, dancing, everything's got to be involved. Eating, the whole harmony has to be there. You can't miss it. You can't miss a part. You miss a part, you don't have the whole harmony there. You need it all.
So Andre, it's like it's scientific almost. It's like it's mathematical, right? It's an equation. There's a question of balance and harmony.
Yeah.
What do you think? Talk about that for me, Andre.
Well, it took people so many years that they did studies talking about the reaction of the fetus in the womb by hearing music, or what music does to the brain. In other words, if you were listening to music and they put you in an MRI to check your brain waves, it looks like the 4th of July as opposed to a normal brain wave. And when they did that to musicians who were playing in the act of not just listening, but also making the music, it looked like a war. The right and left hemispheres of the brain were communicating. So in other words, we are the sum total of all of our moments we've been here and all the things our body goes through. You know, that's why, you know, we're sad when people leave, but sometimes, you know, we haven't existed to endure. We've existed and we bore pain and then we die. It's like with me as a musician, even scientifically, it's like I played with Donny Hathaway. I played with a lot of people and they all seem to go tragically. You know, it's like, why do Black people always have to be involved with tragedy? Mm. It's like, why can't I just naturally just drop dead? Why does it have to be some other shit? Okay, so I thought about that, but I also thought too that we're lucky we've endured this long, because quiet as kept, we should all be totally stark raving mad and skits. Mm-hmm. You know, and the way we deal with that is the best way possible. And that's where the music comes in. And scientifically speaking, it's already been proven what music does. And also, just like the Buddhist, or listening to that prayer bell, or hearing a certain tone, or there's certain music, why does it make you nostalgic? Why do you think about your old girlfriend in high school? I mean, because those chords, they're from the earth. Mm-hmm. These sounds come from nature. They come from the earth. We're human animals, so we're part of nature too. We keep removing ourselves from the source. We keep trying to make ourselves into something that we're not. We're part of the earth, okay? And some Black woman in Africa somewhere begot everybody.
Yep. The beginning.
You know, it's just like the woman, they keep using her cells to make cures for things.
Yep.
You know, in other words, don't get me started. When people do a public relations campaign to convince me something is not worthwhile, I have to do my own research. Mm-hmm. And that research had to be about ourselves, because we've been taught that we were irrelevant. If we were so irrelevant, what was the need for us? Okay. And the fact is people only go back to slavery. They don't realize the history of all of us before we ever got here.
Yep.
Okay. We wasn't washing toilets. We were farming.
But we invented indoor plumbing.
Yes.
And that was thousands of years ago.
Well, don't let me start about the Moors. Don't let me talk about Timbuktu and about the libraries and all the things that have happened. And, you know, they can't even give Black people credit. It's got to be aliens landed and mated with monkeys or some stuff.
I'm going to put this book up here on the screen I'm reading. It's called Wat Int Shemsh by Aikwe Arma. And it's called The Way of Companions. And this is subtitled Myth, History, Philosophy, and Literature, the African Record. And it suggests that we have to uncover the information that we created, that we invented, the African way of knowing. And this is the same phrase, Wat Int Shemsh, is using Roman, lettering, but above it is the hieroglyphic symbols. And it even suggests that at some point in time, we have to question whether the language that we have acquired and been raised in is a language that will allow us to free ourselves. And it's useful. We've mastered it, but inside it is a value system as it's used that devalues our humanity or lets people do that. We fought against that. We've resisted. But is there a process and a system that can change that? So that's just the thought.
That's the same language also used in IQ tests. Mm-hmm. Okay. So in other words, it's like a video I saw recently. somebody says gigantor, and a young black boy says big as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there's always a judgment of delivery based upon what caste system you're from.
Right.
And you got to read Caste by Isabel Wilkerson.
Got it. I'm reading it.
Okay, and what it is the caste system was set here where we live before we ever got here,
mm-hmm.
and it's based upon European BS.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way it works is someone has to be on the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, the African tribes didn't work that way.
Yeah, this is the hierarchy versus the
nomads in the desert
mm-hmm.
had another thing going on,
yep.
and it's just like the Indians. Why did they move from one encampment to another? They didn't want to deplete the resources.
Yep.
So they'd move as the seasons change. That's being in tune with your environment.
Yep.
You know, and the only thing we seem to be in tune with is trying to make cheese. Trying to get money.
Cheddar. Yeah. Let me do two things. One, Brother Williams, hang on as long as you can, but I want to make sure that you get a chance to keep inviting people up to the Northside Boxing Club and let people know that they can support the club by purchasing. We can't mention prices on the station, but we can tell people what we're doing and why. And so I want you to tell people what the boxing club is doing in terms of marketing or selling these promotional items for the sake of underwriting the cost of providing training and engagement for young people. So take a minute and do that. And then Andre, I want to do the same thing with the mobile jazz project, sort of update what's going on right now with that. But you and I have a friend named Maria Issa, who's a phenomenal artist and a wonderful human being who has put her hat into the political arena and succeeding with an endorsement for State House of Representatives from District 65B in St. Paul. And you're helping her with that campaign. I want to talk about that before we close today, okay? So Brother Williams, first of all, let's again remind and invite people to know and support the Northside Boxing Club.
All right, come on down, Northside Boxing Club. We're on 1704 33rd Avenue North, North Minneapolis, the old fire station. And we're selling the drill boxing gloves to help sustain our gym, to make sure our kids can keep coming in there and keep getting these hugs and food and love and information. To keep pushing this movement we got going on. You know, keep raising these babies as a village. And like I was always told, you teach the kids inferiority, they'll find it for themselves. So you have to give them confidence and teach them self-esteem. And all this does is help provide us for us to keep doing this for them. And if anybody wants to come down and help share whatever they have, Mr. Fisher, come on down and talk to them a little about music, whatever else you might be able to help and open them up. Or it's just a village, man. So I thank everybody for being involved, and thank everybody who comes down and donates, everybody who buys a pair of boxing gloves, a hat, a sweater, a shirt, or just wearing it. So I appreciate that too.
And you can go online at northsideboxingclub.com, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
or you can go yes.
You can buy the merch there, right? You can buy the merch online?
Yep. You can buy the merch on Amazon. On Amazon.com as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Drill durable gloves. Yes.
What's the phone number up there?
Now the phone number, I don't know.
Okay, so use the internet. That's fine.
The music is always playing. We never answer the phone. So just one of those gyms you gotta walk in. Yeah.
Show up.
Outgoing. It's outgoing. It's outgoing. Not incoming.
Brother,
you know what? We'll get this ourselves. I'm going to post it on my Facebook site. I'll get your number too and put it on my Facebook page.
Yeah, and we'll put it on this. We'll share this around as well. Andre, talk about the jazz project and talk about our friend Maria Issa. We got about 10 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Okay, jazz project is our 8th year. Mm-hmm. You remember when we started out?
Yep.
Basically, it's an after-school program and workshops. And instead
you know what? Hold on. Talk about Andre Fisher first. You are so fascinating. Take 3 minutes. You know, I know you can't do it in 3 minutes, but give that brief story on you.
Well, I started out with music. My parents are musicians. My uncle was Claire Fisher, an arranger who did all the stuff for Prince and Robert Palmer and Paul McCartney and all those people. I played with Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, with Jerry Butler. I played with the OJs. I played behind Gladys Knight. I formed my own group called Rufus and Shaka Khan. I produced Tell Me Something Good and the early hits on all the Rufus records. Then I became a producer. I was musical director for Anita Baker, for Etta James. My ex-wife's Natalie Cole. I produced Unforgettable. I did Tony Bennett. I did Nina Simone. I did all kinds of people. So the deal is I work for Quincy Jones, who's vice president of his label, of his Jazz A&R. I was ex-senior vice president of MCA Records music division, and also vice president of 20th Century Fox music publishing writer development. All of that was what I did in between doing my first job, which is dad, and taking care of all 5 of my children and my 9 grandkids. So I've done a lot of things, but in my family, if you go ask my father and tell him all the great things I've done and all the Grammys I've won, he'll look at me and he say, if you're telling me he's doing a good job, that's what he's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You don't win a reward for your responsibility.
Right.
It's just what you do. In other words, that's what I do. That's my job.
So I love the story. I love how you tell it. Thank you again.
It's the truth.
Yeah. And so the jazz project. Talk about that now.
It's copied after Billy Taylor's Jazzmobile in Harlem that he started in 1964. He got a flatbed truck and he brought it into the boroughs of New York because there was problems between Spanish Harlem and Black Harlem. And he wanted to make a musical renaissance and let the Black kids know, and all the people, that jazz is ours. It's part of our culture and it needs to be appreciated. So he put a flatbed truck in the middle of the brownstones, closed off the block, all right? Put Duke Ellington on the truck, or Miles Davis. And all the kids saw that, all right? Because kids didn't see acts like that. You had to pay for it or go to a club, or your mama told you about it. Mm-hmm. But what he did is he exposed us to ourselves, and all of a sudden started to make it cool. And instead of being a gangbanger, you didn't look crazy if you walked home with a trumpet under your arm. That was like cool now. So he did that, and it's still in existence, the Jazzmobile, and I copied it because they had brownstones to do it in. We had all these beautiful parks here in Minnesota. Okay, so I made a deal with the parks to take their truck and to go out and do free jazz concerts and workshops to kids out in the parks to expose it to the children. Then instead of just being a nonprofit that always got your hand out all the time, I turned this into a vendor and made a contract with the city of St. Paul and St. Paul Parks. We have mobile jazz studios in 4 rec centers now. We deal with X amount of kids every day. We've been in high schools, middle schools, with after-school programs, summer school programs. And right now, some of my funding comes from the city of St. Paul, certain grants and money that we raise on our own. So that's what I've been doing. We went from 1 instructor to many, and also we're partners with the Youth Social Work Department, University of Minnesota. That's who helped us do our curriculum. But the main thing is the instructors. It's Maria Issa, it's been Ashley DeBose, it's been the Lioness, it's been all kind of great people who are most talented here in the Twin Cities and who are also mentor children. So that's what mobile jazz does. And Maria Issa was one of my main mentors to teach the children. She could take over a room of 80 people and run the room. She knows exactly what to do.
I've seen her do it. She's so good. Yeah.
So that's how she and I connected. And she's a great rapper. She was a battle rapper in high school and beat all the dudes. She's a great singer. She's an actress, but more than that, she's a mom. And she cares about the community. That's why I got on board. I know her well because I respect what she does and how she treats children. And she was also recently involved in the bond initiative with the state of Minnesota for cheaper insulin, because she's also a diabetic, and she saw that people were having to decide between eating and getting insulin. And she said, oh no. So she hooked up with another organization, and they wound up getting an initiative passed with the governor for cheaper insulin here in the state of Minnesota. So she's a fighter for that as well. So that's why I'm involved with her. And District B also got reapportioned as far as redistrict. I'm not even in the district to vote for her anymore. A couple of weeks ago, I was. They made the 2 streets from me as the dividing line.
So you're out of the district now.
Yeah. So now I'm getting more people on board, but they threw more of the West Side period in, as well as West St. Paul and downtown. So she's got it's almost like 2 cities and 2 school boards, and she's really busy. And she's doing what she's got to do, and at the same time take care of her diabetes, raise her new daughter, help these kids, and being Boricua, being
Puerto Rican.
She calls herself a Puerto Rican.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing. You know, she's like our version of AOC.
She is. She's fierce. When she comes from that stock, her mom and I are friends. And the family is a legacy family, fighting for justice, for clarity, for opportunity for all of our people. So she's the right person.
She's fierce, and she can box too.
She can box too, I'm sure. Sure.
Don't mess with her, because she can box too. She got a mean right. Okay.
Well, listen, we're out of time. My thanks to Brother Williams. And do they call you Drill? Do they call you Drill Williams?
Yes,
Brother Drill Williams.
They just call me Drill.
Drill. Okay, Brother
Yes,
Drill,
sir.
thank you so much for being here. Michelle Madison again said, Brother Williams, congratulations on this endeavor, on your marriage and upcoming baby. And she said she's going to buy some merchandise online for her grandsons. I'm going to buy some merch online as well. So for myself.
Yes, sir,
so you'll see me in this show. Rocking Northside Boxing Club. So I'll be promoting what you're doing, brother.
Me too. I got dibs. I got to get me a couple of hoodies right now so I can advertise.
There we go. And
brother Andre,
man, thank you. Andre, man, it's always a pleasure. And, you know, both of you brothers, this door is always open. The platform is always available. And just hook up and let's make it happen anytime we can. To my listeners, I want you to know, thank you for being a listener here on KFAI. And those who are connecting through us, through Facebook, through Black Press USA, through Insight Facebook, through YouTube, we thank you. We're asking for your help. We want to grow this platform, grow this engagement. And if you're watching us or connecting on social media, like it, share it, or subscribe if it's on YouTube, if that's where you are. And keep listening to KFAI. Support this station. Call now. We're in our pledge drive. You can support by calling 612-375-9030. And we have our inside betting game for this promotion. At the beginning of the show, Mason and I came up with this idea. We'll keep it open that everybody's talking about the SLEP heard around the world, right? If you kind of see it Will Smith's way, then call and make a pledge or make a donation for $30. No, if you see it Chris Rock's way, make a pledge for $35. If you see it Will Smith's way, make a pledge for $45. And sometime today we'll say we got X number of pledges reflecting that we support Chris Rock, and X number of pledges saying we support Will Smith. The important thing is support the station, make a pledge, but also use this event as a teachable moment. We got to talk about it and talk it through, take it to the gym, and go get some hugs after. That's what we're going to do. I'm Al McFarlane. We'll see you all next time. Go ahead, Andre. Go ahead.
We're all soldiers. We don't have time for this.
That's right.
We don't have time for that foolishness that happened. And also, Will has a lot of issues if you read his book as well.
Yeah.
Based upon protection and his feeling to protect people in his relationship that happened with his father and his mom. So a lot of us are walking wounded.
Yeah.
But he's still a soldier, and we still got work to do. Thank you, Al, for having me on. I'm so happy I came on today to experience you, Brother Drill. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm glad to meet you.
I love you, Al. You
I love
Captain
you as well,
McFarlane.
man. Good to see you. So I think the station's ready. I'm looking into the studio. Let me see if I've got her. Yeah, there she is. Hey,
Yes, you do.
how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And I agree wholeheartedly with Mr. Fisher. We ain't got no time for that foolishness.
Lady J, thank you. I'm handing it off to you.
Al.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
And thank
Bye-bye.
you, Al McFarlane, for conversations that matter to communities that matter, both locally